White officers laugh at black teen's fake mid-acceptance, unaware his IQ is 187. Cambridge, Massachusetts. April 15th, 2024. 17-year-old Marcus Thompson, a black teenager with close cropped hair, wearing his father's old Howard University hoodie, was walking through Harvard Square with a mid-acceptance folder tucked under his arm, completely unaware that the next 45 minutes would prove, once again, that being brilliant while black is still considered suspicious in America. What the two white police officers approaching him didn't know. This wasn't just any acceptance letter. This was a full scholarship to MIT's astrophysics program, offered to a kid with an IQ of 187, higher than Einstein's estimated 160. That ignorance, that assumption based on skin, color, and a hoodie would cost them their badges, their pensions, and their reputations. Marcus had just left a celebratory lunch with his grandmother. She'd raised him alone after his mother passed when he was 9, working double shifts as a nurse to keep him in after-school math programs. Today should have been perfect. His acceptance letter from MIT lay pristine in its embossed folder, along with scholarship details totaling $320,000. He'd also received personal letters from 3 Nobel Prize winners who'd reviewed his research proposal on dark matter mechanics. At 17. He walked with the quiet confidence of someone who'd spent his life proving himself. His dark brown skin gleamed in the spring sunlight, his posture straight despite carrying the weight every black teenager carries, the knowledge that brilliance doesn't make you bulletproof. His sneakers were clean, but worn. His backpack, covered in NASA patches and calculus equations he'd written in Sharpie, hung from one shoulder. Marcus noticed them before they noticed him. 2 white officers, mid-30s, leaning against their cruiser. He'd had the talk with his grandmother 100 times. Hands visible. Don't run. Yes, sir. No, sir. Stay calm even when your heart is screaming. Survive first. Dignity later. He kept walking, eyes forward. Hey! You! Stop! Marcus stopped. Here we go again. The taller officer, name tag read Brennan, pushed off the cruiser. His partner, Kowalski, followed. Both hands rested on their belts near their weapons. Marcus's grip tightened on his mitt folder. What's in the bag? Brennan demanded. Books, sir. School materials. What are you doing in this neighborhood? Marcus fought the exhaustion rising in his chest. This neighborhood? He'd been coming to Harvard Square since he was 12 for the library. Just had lunch with my grandmother, sir. Heading home, Kowalski circled behind him. Marcus's pulse quickened. Never let them get behind you. But what choice did he have? Lot of break-ins lately, Brennan said, eyes scanning Marcus's hoodie, his backpack, his black skin. You match a description. Marcus knew that game. Black male. That was always the description. What description, sir? Don't get smart with me. Brennan stepped closer. Empty your pockets. Let me see that folder. Marcus hesitated. Inside that folder was everything he'd worked for, every sleepless night studying while other kids partied, every time he'd been called too white by kids at school, too black by teachers who assumed he cheated because his test scores were statistically improbable for someone like him. Every calculation he'd perfected, every theorem he'd mastered, every dream he'd built, reduced to paper these officers were about to put their hands on. It's my college acceptance letter, Marcus said quietly, maintaining eye contact. Respectfully, the way Grandma taught him. From MIT, Brennan laughed. Actually laughed. MIT? You? Kowalski joined in. Let me guess. Basketball scholarship? The microaggression sliced clean. Marcus felt his jaw tighten. Astrophysics. Actually, sure it is. Brennan reached for the folder. Handed over. Now, if you're a black person watching this, you already know where this is going, don't you? How many times have you been stopped for existing? For walking while black? For being too smart, too confident, too present in spaces that weren't meant for you? Drop a comment, but first, you need to hear what these officers didn't know about who they were messing with. Have you experienced this? The assumption, the profiling, the exhaustion of constantly proving yourself. Comment your story below. This is a safe space. We see you. Because what happened next? It would prove that underestimating black excellence is a mistake that destroys careers. Marcus handed over the folder with steady hands, though inside he was calculating risk. His grandmother had taught him probabilities, not in mathematics, but in survival. Stay calm, 60% chance this ends peacefully. Resist, 90% chance this escalates. Be right while black, odds unclear, outcomes deadly. Brennan flipped open the folder. His smirk didn't fade, it widened. Massachusetts Institute of Technology, he read aloud, voice dripping with mockery. Dear Marcus Thompson, congratulations on your acceptance to our astrophysics doctoral pipeline program. He looked up. Doctoral pipeline? At 17? It's a special program for... I know what it means, kid. Brennan's tone sharpened. I'm just trying to figure out where you stole this from. There it was. The assumption. Not wow, congratulations. Not that's impressive. Not even neutral skepticism. Straight to theft. Marcus felt the familiar weight settle on his shoulders, the burden of perfect composure. I didn't steal it, sir. That's my name. My acceptance. Kowalski peered over Brennan's shoulder. Full scholarship. $320,000. He whistled. That's a nice score. How'd you fake this? Online templates? It's not fake. Sure. Brennan kept reading. Personal letters from... Who are these people? Sound made up. They're Nobel Prize winners in physics. Both officers burst out laughing. A small crowd was forming, students with phones out, an elderly white couple clutching their shopping bags, two black women in scrubs who'd stopped walking, their faces tight with recognition. Nobel Prize winners writing to you? Brennan slapped his knee. Man, you're committed to this con. What's the play? Show this around, get people to donate to your college fund? Marcus's hands curled into fists at his sides. Breathe. You can verify it. Mid-admissions office. Call them. We're not calling MIT because some kid in a hoodie. Why does the hoodie matter? The words came out before Marcus could stop them. Brennan's face hardened. Excuse me? How many of you just felt your blood pressure rise? That's recognition, isn't it? The moment when you know that speaking up might be the last thing you do. But staying silent means letting them win. Again, I asked why the hoodie matters, Marcus repeated. Quieter now, but no less firm. You've mentioned it 3 times. It's a Howard University hoodie. My father's. He graduated there before. I don't care about your story. Brennan closed the folder. Here's what I know. Expensive area. Expensive paperwork. Kid who doesn't belong here. How do you know I don't belong? Acting suspicious. That's probable cause. For what? Turn around. Hands on the wall. The black women in scrubs moved closer. One pulled out her phone, started recording. Marcus caught her eye. She nodded slightly. We see you. We're watching. You're not alone. But Marcus was alone. Facing a wall in Harvard Square, hands pressed against brick, while 2 white officers assumed he was a criminal. Again. Still. Always. Drop A if you've been profiled doing something ordinary. We're not alone in this. Brennan's hands were rough, aggressive. He patted down Marcus's sides, checked his pockets, pulled out his wallet. Marcus Thompson, Brennan read from the ID. Roxbury address. Long way from home, aren't you? Roxbury. The word hung in the air like an accusation. Boston's historically black neighborhood, redlined for decades, still fighting gentrification. Brennan said it like it was a crime scene, not a community. It's 20 minutes by train, Marcus said, cheek pressed against brick. Brennan opened Marcus's wallet. $23. Debit card. Library card. Wow, Roxbury Public Library, A&D Harvard's. Stealing library cards now too? I have research privileges at Harvard. They partner with. Sure they do. Brennan pocketed the wallet. We'll hold on to this. You can't just take. I can do whatever I want. Brennan's face was inches from Marcus's now. You're being detained for suspicious activity and possible fraud. Kowalski pulled out Marcus's phone. Nice iPhone. Expensive. How'd you afford this? I work. Marcus's voice was strained. At repair shop in Roxbury. Weekends? Uh-huh. Passcode? You need a warrant for. We can get one. Or you can cooperate. Kowalski's hand moved to his handcuffs. Your choice, genius. Here's what Marcus was thinking. What every black person thinks in these moments. Do I cite my Fourth Amendment rights and confirm their stereotype of the difficult black person? Do I comply and let them violate my privacy? Do I call my grandmother and make her rush down here, heart problems and all, to see her grandson treated like a criminal? Or do I stand my ground and risk this becoming another hashtag? He'd had the talk. Multiple versions. From his grandmother, baby, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get half as far. From his physics teacher, Mr. Washington, the only black teacher at his school, brilliant, don't make you bulletproof. Remember that. From the father he barely remembered in one of the last conversations before he died, the world's going to try to make you small. Don't let them. But what these officers didn't see? The badge in Marcus's backpack, youth advisor to the mayor's STEM initiative. The letter in his folder from a sitting U.S. senator. The research paper he'd co-authored with a MIT professor, already published in physical review letters. The IQ test results, administered by Harvard Medical School, confirming 187 genius-level intelligence that appeared once in 100 million people. Power earned despite people exactly like this. The passcode is 0314, Marcus said flatly. Pi, of course it was. Kowalski fumbled with the phone. The crowd was growing. The woman recording stepped closer. Y'all are violating this child's rights, she called out. He hasn't done anything. Brennan spun on her. Ma'am, step back or you'll be arrested for interfering. I'm documenting police activity. That's legal step. Back? She didn't. God bless her, she didn't. Have you ever been so calm outside while screaming inside? That's the black experience. That's survival. Kowalski scrolled through Marcus's phone. Lots of emails here. Mid-admissions. Harvard researchers. Looks like you've been busy setting up this scam. Those are real emails, Marcus said, exhaustion bleeding into his voice. From real people. You can check the domains. I don't need to check anything. Kowalski turned the screen toward Brennan. Look at this. Email from Dr. Sarah Chen, MIT department head. These scammers are getting sophisticated. Brennan snorted. What'd you do? Buy an email list? The absurdity would have been funny if it weren't so dangerous. Marcus had corresponded with Dr. Chen for 8 months. She'd mentored him, reviewed his research, advocated for his acceptance. Their emails discussed quantum mechanics, dark matter theory, mathematical proofs Marcus had developed in his bedroom in Roxbury while police sirens wailed outside. Now these officers were reducing it all to fraud. Call her, Marcus said. Her number's in my contacts. Call her right now. We're not calling anyone based on your say-so, then call mid-admissions. The number's on the letterhead. Kid, I'm about done with your mouth. Brennan grabbed Marcus's shoulder, spun him around. Here's what's going to happen. We're taking you in for questioning. Fraud investigation. Maybe possession of stolen property. What stolen property? This phone. This folder. We'll sort it out at the station. Marcus's heart hammered. The station. Where phones got lost, where footage got corrupted, where black teenagers entered walking and left in body bags. He thought of Tamir Rice, 12 years old, playing with a toy gun, dead in 2 seconds. He thought of Elijah McClain, walking home, listening to music, killed for existing. He thought of every name, every hashtag, every mother weeping on TV. The woman recording spoke up again. This is Marcus Thompson. It's 2:47 p.m., April 15th, 2024. Harvard Square. Officers Brennan and Kowalski are detaining a black teenager for walking while holding a college acceptance letter. Multiple witnesses present. Thank God for black women. Always showing up, always putting themselves at risk to protect black children. Brennan pulled out his handcuffs. Marcus Thompson, you're being detained. On what charge? Marcus's voice cracked. Not from fear, from rage. Controlled, simmering, ancestral rage. What crime did I commit? Public disturbance. I'm standing still. Failure to comply. I've complied with everything. Resisting arrest. You haven't arrested me for anything. Brennan grabbed Marcus's wrist, wrenched it behind his back. Pain shot through Marcus's shoulder. The crowd gasped. More phones came out. You're hurting me, Marcus said clearly for the recording. I'm not resisting. You're hurting me. Should have thought about that before getting smart. The cuffs clicked closed. Kowalski grabbed Marcus's backpack, started rifling through it. Pulled out textbooks, advanced quantum mechanics, astrophysics for physicists, introduction to general relativity. Pulled out Marcus's calculator, his notebooks filled with equations, his worn copy of A Brief History of Time. And then, Kowalski pulled out a badge. Can you see your brother in this? Your son? Yourself? When was the last time you had to prove you deserved to exist in a space? Kowalski held up the badge like it was evidence of guilt. What's this? You impersonating officials now too? That's my youth advisor badge, Marcus said through gritted teeth, shoulders screaming from the cuffs. For the mayor's office. STEM Education Initiative. Both officers examined it. Legitimate city seal. Marcus's photo. Expiration date, December 2024. These are easy to fake, Brennan said, but his voice had lost some confidence. Call the mayor's office, Marcus pressed. The number's on the back. They'll confirm we'll verify it at the station. Brennan pocketed the badge. Along with everything else, an older white man in the crowd stepped forward. Professor type, tweed jacket, graying beard. Officers, I think there's been a misunderstanding. That young man is... Sir, step back. I'm Professor Richard Morrison, Harvard Physics Department. I know this boy. He's attended several of our lectures. He's legitimate. Marcus felt a flash of gratitude, followed immediately by bitterness. Of course. A white professor's word might matter when a black teenager's didn't. Brennan hesitated. You know him? I've met him at 3 separate lectures on theoretical physics. Brilliant young man. Those materials are his. The mid-acceptance is real. I wrote one of his recommendation letters. Why would a Harvard professor write a recommendation for MIT? Because talent deserves opportunity regardless of institutional rivalry. Professor Morrison's tone cooled. And because profiling gifted students because of their race is exactly the kind of thing that ends careers. I suggest you verify his credentials before this goes any further. Brennan's jaw worked. Marcus could see the calculation happening, the realization that maybe, possibly, they'd made a mistake. But instead of backing down, Brennan doubled down. With all due respect, Professor, we have procedures. If he's legitimate, he'll be released. But we've had multiple thefts in this area, and he matches. A description? Professor Morrison's voice hardened. What description? Blackmail? That's not a description, officer. That's profiling. I don't appreciate your tone, and I don't appreciate watching you humiliate a student I respect. Morrison pulled out his phone. I'm calling University Police, and my attorney, and possibly the Globe. This is unacceptable. Kowalski stepped between them. Sir, you need to calm down. Don't tell me to calm down when you've got an innocent boy in handcuffs. The crowd murmured agreement. More people were stopping, watching. White students in Harvard gear, black families, Asian American shopkeepers standing in doorways, Latina mothers with strollers, the demographic mix of Cambridge, all united in watching this injustice unfold. Marcus stood perfectly still, hands cuffed behind his back, MIT folder on the ground where Brennan had dropped it, pages scattered on the concrete, his scholarship details, his acceptance letter, the personal note from Dr. Chen congratulating him on being one of the finest young minds I've encountered in 30 years of teaching. Discarded, disrespected. Like he was. Would you have kept your composure? We all know what happens when we don't, when we show anger, when we match their energy. It's called justification, and it gets us killed. Brennan's radio crackled. He stepped away to respond, leaving Kowalski alone with Marcus. The younger officer shifted uncomfortably under the crowd's stares. "Look," Kowalski said quietly, "just cooperate and this'll be over soon." "I am cooperating," Marcus said. "I've been cooperating. That's not the problem, is it? What's that supposed to mean?" "You know exactly what it means," Kowalski's face flushed. "I'm not racist, if that's what you're implying." There it was. The defensiveness. The assumption that pointing out racism was worse than actually being racist. Marcus almost laughed. Almost. "I didn't say you were racist," Marcus said, though they both knew the truth. "I said you know what the problem is. You saw a black teenager in a hoodie and assumed criminal. Not MIT student. Not genius. Not human being. Criminal. That's not... We have to check. Do you stop every teenager in Harvard Square, or just the black ones?" Kowalski didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Because they both knew. Brennan returned, expression dark. Dispatch confirmed no outstanding warrants, no matches for recent thefts. "So I'm free to go?" Marcus asked. "We still need to verify." "No." The word came out harder than Marcus intended. "Either charge me with something or uncuff me. Right now. Don't push me, kid. I'm not pushing. I'm invoking my rights." Fourth Amendment. Unreasonable search and seizure. You have no probable cause, no warrant, no legitimate reason to detain me. "Uncuff me." Brennan's hand moved to his belt, near his gun. The crowd tensed. The woman recording gasped. Professor Morrison shouted, "Don't even think about it." Time slowed. Marcus saw his life fracture into possibilities. If Brennan drew his weapon, if Marcus flinched, if someone in the crowd screamed, probability of survival dropped to 30%. Maybe less, all because he was brilliant while black, all because he dared to walk through Harvard Square with dreams. But Marcus was done being polite, done code switching, done protecting white feelings while they destroyed his dignity. "You're scared," Marcus said quietly. "That's what this is. You're scared because I don't fit your narrative. Poor black kid from Roxbury can't possibly be going to MIT. Can't possibly be smarter than you. Can't possibly deserve the same respect you'd give a white teenager in this exact situation. Watch your mouth. Or what? You'll arrest me for being articulate? For calling out your racism? For existing in a space you've decided I don't belong in?" Brennan grabbed Marcus's arm, hard, fingers digging into flesh. "You're making this worse for yourself." "No, Officer Brennan, you're making this worse for yourself. Because everything you've done is being recorded, witnessed. And when the truth comes out, and it will come out, you're going to regret every single decision you've made in the last 20 minutes. Marcus's phone rang in Kowalski's hand. The screen lit up. Senator Elizabeth Warren. Everyone froze. Hit like if these stories need to be told. Racism thrives in silence. Share this so the world sees what black excellence faces. Kowalski stared at the phone like it was evidence against him. "This is fake. Has to be." "Answer it," Marcus said. "Please, answer it and tell Senator Warren why you have me in handcuffs." Brennan's confidence cracked. "Why would a senator be calling you?" "Because I intern with her office. STEM Policy Division. She's been mentoring me for 2 years. Now answer the phone." The call went to voicemail. 30 seconds later, it rang again. Same name. Senator Warren didn't give up easily. Professor Morrison stepped closer, phone raised. "I've got Boston Globe on the line. They'd love a statement about why Cambridge police are detaining a MIT-bound student. Should I conference them in?" Brennan's radio crackled again. His face went pale as he listened. Whatever dispatch was telling him, it wasn't good. He grabbed the phone from Kowalski, answered it himself. "This is Officer Brennan, Cambridge PD." Even from 3 feet away, Marcus could hear the response, "This is Senator Elizabeth Warren's office. We've been informed that Marcus Thompson, a constituent and intern, is being illegally detained. Is this accurate?" Brennan's jaw worked. "We were conducting a routine. Mr. Thompson is a youth advisor to the mayor's office and a constituent services intern with our office. He has security clearances and works on federal education policy. I'll ask again, why is he detained? There was a misunderstanding. Uncuff him. Now. We'll be filing a formal complaint with your department within the hour. Senator Warren will also be contacting the mayor personally. The call ended. Silence stretched across Harvard Square. And that's when Brennan made his final mistake. Crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Because instead of apologizing, instead of admitting error, he leaned close to Marcus and whispered, "You might have fooled them, but I know what you are." The crowd was watching. Phones were out, witnesses recording. And Marcus? Done being polite. Done code switching. Done protecting white feelings. It was time for these officers to learn what every black person already knows: underestimating us is the first mistake. Disrespecting us is the second. But thinking there won't be consequences? That's the mistake that changes everything. Because what these officers didn't know, what they were about to learn the hardest way possible, was who Marcus Thompson really was. Marcus waited until Brennan uncuffed him. Waited until his wrists were free, blood returning to his hands. Waited until he could reach into his backpack himself. He pulled out a folder, not the mid-acceptance that was still scattered on the ground, a different folder, sealed with a classification stamp. "My name is Marcus Elijah Thompson," he said, voice carrying across the silent crowd. "I'm 17 years old, born in Roxbury, Massachusetts. Raised by my grandmother, Patricia Thompson, after my mother died of breast cancer when I was 9. My father, Dr. Elijah Thompson, died serving this country in Afghanistan when I was 7. He was an Army physicist, one of the first black men in his unit, posthumously awarded the Bronze Star." Brennan's face drained of color. Marcus continued, pulling documents from the folder. "I have an IQ of 187, tested and verified by Harvard Medical School's Cognitive Assessment Center. I've published 2 papers in peer-reviewed physics journals, Physical Review Letters and Nature Physics, co-authored with MIT professors." At 16, he held up the first letter. "This is from Dr. Sarah Chen, MIT department head. She's waiting for my call to confirm I arrived safely for my campus visit this weekend. She's also a personal friend of the university president." Second letter. "This is from Nobel Prize winner Dr. James Patterson. He's advised my dark matter research for 18 months. We're co-authoring a paper for publication next month." Third document. "This is my acceptance to MIT's doctoral pipeline program. Full scholarship. $320,000. Reserved for students demonstrating exceptional ability in theoretical physics. I'm one of 3 students nationwide selected this year, the only black student. The crowd was utterly silent. This," Marcus held up his badge, "is my youth advisor credential for Mayor Michelle Wu's office. I've worked on STEM education policy for Boston Public Schools for 2 years. I've presented to the City Council 4 times. Final document, and this is my security clearance for Senator Warren's office. Level 3, Federal. I intern with her STEM policy division. I've written briefing memos that went to the White House." Marcus's eyes met Brennan's. "You assumed. You profiled. You humiliated me. You violated my rights. You used physical force. You threatened arrest. And when multiple people told you that you were wrong, you doubled down." Professor Morrison stepped forward. "I've taken the liberty of recording this entire interaction. I've also sent it to Harvard's legal department, the Eclue, and yes, the Boston Globe. They're sending a reporter now. The woman who'd been recording spoke up. I sent my video to Channel 5 News. They're covering this live in 10 minutes. Brennan's confidence, that entitlement, that assumed superiority, gone. Replaced with something black people rarely see, a racist realizing they destroyed their own life. Not fear of a black person, fear of accountability. Have you ever seen a racist face consequences in real time? How did it feel? This is what accountability looks like. Comment below. Within 30 minutes, Harvard Square was flooded with news cameras. Within an hour, #Justice for Marcus was trending nationally. Within 2 hours, both officers were suspended without pay. By that evening, the videos had 15 million views across platforms. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, BBC, everyone covered it. Not as a debate, as a fact. 2 white officers profiling a black teenage genius. The evidence was overwhelming. 37 witnesses, 14 videos from different angles, time-stamped documentation of every civil rights violation, Professor Morrison's testimony, Senator Warren's office statement, Mitt's official condemnation, Mayor Wu's public apology to Marcus, and promise of comprehensive disciplinary review. Within 24 hours, both officers were fired, not suspended. Fired. No severance packages. No pension protection. Terminated for cause, racial profiling, excessive force, violation of civil rights, and, the final nail, making false statements in their incident report. They'd claimed Marcus was aggressive and threatening. 14 videos proved otherwise. The Cambridge Police Department released a statement. The actions of former officers Brennan and Kowalski do not represent our values or training. We have launched a full investigation and will cooperate with federal civil rights inquiries. We owe Marcus Thompson and the entire community a profound apology. Not enough. Never enough. But something. The Massachusetts Attorney General announced a federal civil rights investigation. The FBI opened a case reviewing the officers' previous arrests for patterns of discrimination. The ACLU filed a lawsuit on Marcus's behalf, not just against the officers but against the department for systemic racial profiling. Senator Warren held a press conference with Marcus beside her. This brilliant young man was treated like a criminal for walking while black, for being excellent while black, for existing in a space that 2 officers decided he didn't belong in. That's not just wrong, it's a civil rights violation. We will pursue this to the fullest extent of the law. Other victims came forward. 8 other black individuals, students, professionals, residents, with similar stories about Brennan and Kowalski. Documented stops, questionable arrests, pattern of discrimination spanning 5 years. The lawsuits demand $10 million, $5 million for Marcus, $5 million for a community fund supporting black youth in STEM to be administered by black-led organizations in Roxbury. If you're feeling that satisfaction, that finally, consequences, hit that like button. Share this. Let the world see racism has a price tag. 3 months later, the full scope of accountability emerged. Brennan and Kowalski faced criminal charges, deprivation of civil rights under color of law, assault, filing false police reports. Federal charges, 5 to 10 years each if convicted. Their attempted apologies, posted on social media by their lawyer, were textbook non-apologies. I'm sorry if anyone was offended. I was just doing my job. I'm learning and growing. Empty words trying to erase violent actions. The comments weren't sympathetic. You profiled a child. You humiliated a genius because he was black. You deserve everything coming to you. Brennan lost his wife. She filed for divorce, citing inability to reconcile his actions with the person she thought she married. Lost his house in the settlement. His adult children stopped speaking to him. Couldn't find security work, couldn't get hired anywhere, his name too infamous, his face too recognizable from viral videos. Kowalski moved 3 states away, worked under a different name, still got recognized, still faced consequences, employment applications rejected, social ostracism. The internet doesn't forget. The Cambridge Police Department settled the lawsuit, $8.5 million, $4 million to Marcus. $4.5 million to the Roxbury STEM Community Fund, which would provide scholarships, mentorship, and resources to black students pursuing science careers. Students who, like Marcus, had to be twice as good to get half as far. But the systemic changes mattered most. Cambridge PD now required mandatory anti-bias training, real training, not diversity theater. Body cameras always on. Community Oversight Board with power to discipline. Hiring quotas for officers of color. Partnership with Black community organizations. Annual audits of stop and search data by race. The local NAACP monitored compliance. Professor Morrison joined the Oversight Board. The woman who'd recorded everything became a community activist, training others in their rights. The Massachusetts legislature passed the Marcus Thompson Act, requiring all police departments statewide to report demographic data on stops, searches, and arrests. Transparency. Accountability. Progress. Do you think the punishment fit the crime? Or should there have been more? What would you have done? Let's discuss in comments, respectfully. Marcus Thompson started at MIT that fall. He moved into the dorms with his grandmother's quilt, his father's medals, and a framed copy of that acceptance letter, wrinkled now, with footprints from where it fell in Harvard Square. His story became a required case study in the police academy. Not to shame, to teach. This is what bias looks like. This is what it costs. This is why you verify before you escalate. This is why Black Lives Matter isn't just a slogan, it's a necessity. Senator Warren hired Marcus full-time after graduation for her policy team. Professor Morrison became his PhD advisor. Dr. Chen remained his mentor. That dark matter research paper was published to international acclaim. At 18, Marcus delivered the commencement speech at Roxbury Community College. He spoke about his grandmother, his father, the officers who tried to break him, and the community that held him up. They tried to make me small, he said, tried to make my dreams impossible because of my skin. But here's what they didn't understand. Black excellence isn't remarkable despite racism. It's remarkable because of it. Every barrier they put up, we jump higher. Every door they close, we build new ones. Every time they say we can't, we do. Standing ovation. Not just for Marcus. For every Black person who'd been profiled, dismissed, underestimated, and survived anyway. Brennan and Kowalski watched from prison, serving 4 years each after plea deals. The videos played on loop in training sessions. Their legacy, a cautionary tale. Marcus's legacy, inspiration.